I truly, deep down in my soul, believe that everyone, no matter where they're born, where they live, we should all have the equal opportunities to thrive. And so that really drives my work. Greetings, assalamu alaikum. My name is Tjada McKenna, and I am the CEO of Mercy Corps. It is an incredible honor, and I'm humbled every day to lead Mercy Corps. We are an organization working across 40 countries, working in those communities every day to help those communities cope, adapt, and thrive through the challenges that they face and helping them to prosper. In the Middle East, we work places like Iraq, Jordan, Palestine, Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, as well as many other countries across Africa, Asia, and Latin America. I became the CEO during the midst of the COVID crisis, and COVID affected all of us. It was really, it was a great equalizer in that way, but what we saw and what was very clear is that it wasn't affecting all of us equally. And one of the things I did when I joined Mercy Corps was really pivoted our work to really make sure that we were focused on the needs and really grounded in the local communities that we serve, right? We won't always be there, and so our goal is to really work with those communities to help them to build their own resilience. 95% of our staff usually are from the communities where we serve. So that really allows us to work in partnership with those communities to determine what they need. We've been focused on a couple of things. One, having our leadership in countries and communities be from those areas. So for example, in Iraq, we have an Iraqi national, born and raised in Iraq, has been there almost all of his career running our country program. Also making sure that those leaders are being developed and groomed to have broader leadership roles in the organization all across. I hope that one day my successor is from one of the communities or places that we serve. Also, looking at our own culture and really taking a look, making sure that we are more open and inclusive to different communication styles, different ways of being. We truly are a global organization, and we want to make sure that we feel global. We see ourselves as working hand in hand with communities, and so we learn just as much as we give, and making sure that we are operating as humbly as possible so that we can deliver the most sustainable, long-lasting solutions. And that's exactly the spirit of what the Zayed Sustainability Prize recognizes. And so we're really excited to be part of this series. Because of the environments in the world today, with the increase in climate change and the effects of that, like climate change helps to exacerbate conflict. It also helps to exacerbate poverty. So we really think resilience is the core of what we're seeking to do. And we have a three-layered approach. So what we think of as cope, adapt, thrive. So even in the face of a sudden onset emergency or conflict, like we're there as we can be. We want to be there right away with things that people might need for the immediate. But our solutions and our responses are always thinking about what that community needs in the long term. For instance, the first thing we might go in with is cash, right? We want people to be able to still use their local markets. We want local producers, local markets to still be able to thrive, to support those long term. We also want people to be in charge of their own development and to be able to think about what they need to get through the crisis and beyond. We're constantly thinking about how to build out the long term and what things prepare them for long term success, and not just that moment in time. I read a quote from Sheikh Zayed that acknowledged, or that said, basically, climate change and the effects of that are not just the responsibility of the government. They really are the responsibility of all of us, because we are all affected by it. And in many cases, the people who've done the least to contribute to climate change are the ones who are the most impacted, which is the case in almost all of the communities where we work. So we take this really seriously. There are two things. We have two sides to it. One, we look at our own impact as an organization on the climate and making sure that we are responsible actors. So we have set our own goals around carbon emissions. The second thing is, in terms of our programming and in our work with communities, we have thought about the carbon footprint of all of our work on the ground, have been adjusting things, also incorporating things into programming that help communities adapt to climate change. For instance, we do a lot of work with smallholder farmers. Agriculture is a main livelihood of a lot of communities in Africa and countries we serve. And so they're the ones obviously being hit the most by climate change. So a lot of our work, we've added this adaptive quality where we're taking things like weather data or insurance products or other things that are really helping farmers to be prepared in the face of an unexpected climate emergency, to be able to get resources to them more quickly, and to also think about how their practices can make them more resilient. Partnerships are really critical. The Zayed Sustainability Prize focuses on sustainability and having long-term impacts, and we believe the only way to do that is to partner with those who are in the community doing the work. In situations like a war, there could be an increase in human trafficking, or that those communities may need certain materials more than others. So we've kind of brought our knowledge of emergencies and working in conflict and worked with local partners to adapt those. At the same time, we provide cash assistance to people affected by the war, and that's where we've also been working with big financial service firms and others, and in some cases, like in Afghanistan, local providers, to make sure that we can get cash and get funds to people through channels when other systems are broken down. I think this use of technology also goes back to our vision of really talking to communities about what they need and seeing what things that are there. One thing we've been increasingly doing is trying to do more anticipatory action. So for example, in Guatemala, we've been using weather satellite image and data from different sources where we can say, okay, it looks like a hurricane may come. And one of the things we've done, there are remittance providers. So in anticipation of a weather event we see coming, we've run programs with those services to cut the fees and to encourage their customers to send these remittances early so that people are more equipped to cope with the crisis when it comes versus trying to find something after. Really allowing people to take charge of their own responses and putting them in the best position to emerge from those in a stronger place. Sustainability is the heart, really is that heart of what we do. So what we often do when we're starting project work and throughout is we often develop mechanisms. We call it community accountability mechanisms, but those are really committees or groups or different ways of bringing people together. So for example, when we're selecting families for different things, we do that with feedback from the community, right? The community is helping us to set the criteria. We're doing it together so that it's the transparency plus that sense of ownership. So we'll make sure that they understand for safety reasons, there will never be a time where an adult or anyone from our programming should be alone with children. And oftentimes, if you look at our work in refugee camps or temporary places for internally displaced people, sometimes we'll be putting up infrastructure like showers or toilets. Then those communities, we also have things that people are taking care of it themselves, or a long-term plan for who owns it, the governance of that, really doing things to make sure that the communities are also working together and feel a joint ownership of those projects. And that really is the key to success and sustainability. Platforms and awards like the Zayed Sustainability Prize are just critical to advancing our sector and to really advancing great ideas. It feels good to be recognized for what you're doing, and it's a great motivator. But then I'll get to the real tangible, long-lasting things that the Zayed Sustainability Prize and others bring. First of all, it helps organizations like ours, no matter what your size is, big or small, to either take a chance and test something new that you might not have been able to do before, or to scale something that you already have to show it on a different level. And the publicity and the accolades from a Zayed Sustainability Prize, that really, another funder or another organization may see that, they may see the idea, and that also allows us to scale, to perhaps do that in more places. The other thing that Zayed Sustainability Prize and other platforms like that do is it helps us to identify each other like-minded people in this space who may be working on similar things, to partner and to go forward to do these things. It also really helps to spark the creativity and thoughts of others about how to incorporate these critical concepts into the work that we do. So the Zayed Sustainability Prize and platforms like that are really important mechanisms in driving change and helping us all do our work better and more effectively and in different ways. So they're wonderful. Every single one of us is born with a certain set of gifts or capabilities, and some of us are just happen to win the lottery in terms of where we're born or the families that we're born into or the places that we're born. I truly, deep down in my soul, believe that everyone, no matter where they're born, where they live, we should all have the equal opportunities to thrive. And so that really drives my work. It's why Mercy Corps exists, and I think it drives the work of a lot of our employees here. It's just that innate belief that we all deserve an opportunity to thrive, and the imagination of like how much better the world will be if people really do equally have opportunities to thrive and to contribute to the world and their families and their communities. The root causes, right now, the root causes of humanitarian crises in the world, it really is conflict, climate change, and poverty. And all of those three things amplify one another. All the work that we're doing to reduce the rate of climate change is quite critical. But the reality is that the populations that are most affected negatively by climate change are the ones who did the least to contribute to it, and the ones who may have the least resources to sustainably adapt. Addressing some of the root causes of poverty, teaching people how to be entrepreneurs or building their skills to enter the economy. People want to thrive. They want to be able to take care of themselves and their families. And so really thinking of those and all, the ability to do all those things affects people's ability to go to school, to get health care. It's all combined. The Zayed Sustainability Prize, what I love about it is that it recognizes the need for that sustainability, but it also kind of lays out this marker for the world and what we can do. I truly believe like there's no such thing as them versus us. It impacts all of us. There's not this thing that you should just close your eyes and be able to look the other way. I do believe we can have this interconnected, harmonious world where people are thriving, and that's what we should be working towards.